Uh, Dr. Bruce McNabb here, retired One Health epidemiologist with Novometrics Research, in a series of videos talking about prevent, detect, and protect with respect to COVID and be an exponential superhero. I know I said I'd stop at 10 videos, but this is being recorded on April 18th, 2020, when a very big topic in the news is when can we ease off on the prevention a bit to allow people to get back to work. It's a very complex issue, but we need to do it. And it gets kind of distasteful to some, where it, to a certain extent, it implies putting a value, monetary value on life, economy versus people dying. I suggest that is in part true, and maybe we can look at it other ways, as I'll describe in a minute. First thing I think is important to remember is that we've been doing this severe restriction and severe impacting the economy primarily to flatten the curve so healthcare systems, hospitals, etc., can manage the surge of patients who are seriously ill. And therefore, fewer people will die, in the sense that there are ICU beds available for those who really need them. Now, it's important to remember that flattening the curve and reducing that spike with the goal of being within the capacity of the healthcare system is really important, but it doesn't eliminate all those people who are seriously ill or prevent them from becoming seriously ill. It just spreads those over time so the healthcare system can handle them. And while by spreading over time we will save more lives of people who would have otherwise died but they couldn't get access to intensive care units, we won't save the ones that for whatever reason are susceptible to COVID, that even with intensive care they die. We're not going to save any of those, and you can't distinguish. You have to both address them with intensive care, but those will just be spread out over time. So in terms of the value of flattening the curve, it's could be measured in terms of the number of deaths prevented that were saved because we remained within the capacity of the healthcare system. So then we will want to balance that against the economy, which kind of implies putting a dollar value on life. I would suggest we already do that all the time, as distasteful as that might be, but there are different circumstances. For example, you buying life insurance is in essence you and your family putting a dollar value on yourself as one of, or the primary breadwinner in the household of what would be needed if you died. But in that case, it's you and your family kind of deciding on your value and how much you're willing to pay in insurance premiums. At the other extreme, it's different if I kind of apologize in advance. I'm not saying all CEOs are like this, but it's possible. There are some people out there who are concerned with the bottom line and profits, and are willing to put their workers at greater risk, be it safety practices within their organization in general, prevention against industrial accidents, whatever they put in place and don't put in place, or now safety practices for their workers in their risk of getting COVID. And it's possible there are some boards and CEOs who try to balance that in terms of dollars. As a mid-range, there are probably boards and CEOs who try extremely hard, mortgage their own houses and their own savings to try to keep the company running because they're not making as much profit, because they are trying desperately hard to lower the risk to their employees, and are in discussion with their employees all the time about what risk are they willing to accept with respect to COVID. And and that means less efficient production and less profits. I suspect there's the whole range in there, but regardless, it's all kind of putting value on life. Another way to look at that is not put it in dollars, but how many deaths do you prevent from COVID, and how many deaths do you prevent from happening by letting the economy run to some extent? Because completely stagnant economy also leads to additional deaths that would not otherwise have happened if the economy was running along normally. It's extremely difficult to actually count those deaths, but the fact is it's true. So I don't have a magic wand of how to find the optimal point, but I suggest if we thought of it as how do we balance, minimize the total number of deaths that otherwise would not have happened by both trying to keep the deaths from COVID down and deaths down from the economy being completely stagnant, balancing those two sets of deaths so that the total number of deaths is minimized. That's sort of valuing deaths against deaths rather than deaths against dollars. Now, I don't have a magic wand to figure out where that is, but at least in theory, there's a balance there that optimizes that. And it also means more people will die than would otherwise have lived had COVID not come along. We can't escape the fact that COVID is here and it's causing deaths, both directly from COVID and deaths from impacts on the economy. And that's going to hurt for a long time. And sadly, we kind of have to accept those deaths and realize those will happen. It's in my view, unrealistic to think we'll get back to quote unquote normal for a very long time because of the two.